I don't want to believe it. It doesn't take 37 years to
I was 17 years old.
It doesn't matter. If I was possibly had a child, I would not wait till 37 years old.
Right.
First of all, I've told China about her father.
That's a lie.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Your Honor, because I know I'm in the court of law. I've told China about her father. They told her father was dead.
The case of Baylor v. Childs opens with a 20-year-old paternity mystery. Ms. Allen claims a brief affair with Mr. Childs resulted in her daughter, Aisha Baylor. She alleges he acknowledged paternity until his wife convinced him otherwise. Mr. Childs and his wife are present to contest this, stating Ms. Allen was involved with others and he is not the father. The stage is set for a classic he said, she said confrontation.
Ms. Allen, you say that after a brief affair with Mr. Childs, you discovered you were pregnant with your daughter, Ms. Baylor. You say Mr. Childs acknowledged paternity until his wife convinced him otherwise. You intend to prove that Mr. Childs is in fact your daughter's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen immediately points the finger, blaming Mr. Childs' wife for his denial. Mr. Childs fires back, asking why it took her 2 decades to seek a DNA test if she was so sure. He describes their relationship as nothing serious, just messing around through mutual friends. This establishes the central conflict, her long-held certainty against his long-held doubt, with his wife positioned as the alleged manipulator.
Mr. Childs, you admit to the affair with Ms. Allen, but say she was involved with several other people around the time of conception. And your wife contend that you are not Ms. Baylor's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, why is Mr. Childs denying your daughter?
The timeline of their relationship is hazy. Ms. Allen says intimacy began after a football game and drinks, occurring a couple times. Mr. Childs claims that when he confronted her about pregnancy rumors, she was non-committal, telling him, "I don't know if it's yours or not." This initial ambiguity from Ms. Allen becomes a key point of contention, undermining her current stance of absolute certainty.
We just did it like maybe a couple times after that.
Okay, so this didn't extend for a long time. This is just a few encounters.
Yeah.
Then you say you got pregnant, and once you got pregnant, did you tell Mr. Childs, "I'm pregnant and I think it could be yours"?
Actually, it was rumors, so he came
You
to me.
spread the rumor. People are coming
Okay,
to me.
if I had family.
A major twist emerges. Testimony reveals Ms. Allen previously DNA tested another man at his request. She admits this is true, but claims she wasn't even messing with him, calling it fishing. This revelation is devastating to her credibility. If she was so sure Mr. Childs was the father, why entertain a test with someone she insists wasn't a real candidate? The plot thickens considerably.
So, Ms. Allen, there has been testimony which indicates that you also tested another man.
Yeah, she did.
Is that true?
Okay, that is true.
Okay.
That is true.
Tell the court about that.
That is true, but that was somebody that I wasn't even messing with him. This was something that came about.
Why would you test someone you aren't messing with?
The daughter, Miss Baylor, shares her perspective. She learned the man she thought was her dad was actually her stepfather when she was 14. Rumors in her family pointed to Mr. Childs. She took initiative, finding him on Facebook to seek answers. Mr. Childs emphasizes he never denied her, stating, "A child looking for a father, I'ma be there," showing his willingness to engage.
To be honest, Your Honor, I was about 14 when I first found out my sister's dad wasn't my dad. Just hearing rumors, just going over my grandmother's house in Bowling Green. And that's where basically he is from. And everybody would come to me like, "You're my cousin, TJ's your dad." I'm like,
Mr. Childs reveals he attempted to meet Ms. Baylor when she was 9 years old, sitting down with her at her mother's house. However, Ms. Baylor has no memory of this encounter. This highlights the communication breakdown. Earnest attempts by one party were completely filtered out, leaving the daughter in a fog of confusion for most of her life.
Your Honor, in 2006, I got in touch with Miss Baylor, and I told her that I wanted to meet Shy.
11 years ago, you would have been 9, Ms. Baylor.
Yes, ma'am.
So you made an attempt to meet Miss Baylor at 9 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
But you weren't informed of any of this till you were 14.
Mr. Childs presents a compelling argument. He states if Ms. Allen was so sure he was the father and struggling, she could have filed for child support, forcing a DNA test years ago. He feels his reputation is damaged, with people viewing him as a deadbeat dad. This logical point makes the mother's inaction seem very suspicious to the court.
I just wanted to see it through, Your Honor. I'm saying like this. If it was such a struggle for her to raise her by herself, and you know where I am, if I'm such a bad person, go get child support. When we went to child support, I would have got a DNA test, and this would have been taken care of years ago. I've been going on years, Your Honor, with people saying, oh, you know Shy's your daughter. Oh, you know Shy's your daughter.
The finger-pointing intensifies. Mr. Childs suggests Ms. Allen just wanted his name for social status, calling himself a good catch. Ms. Allen retaliates by alleging he was also messing with my cousins. The judge reels them back in, reminding them this is about the daughter, not their past drama, as the conversation devolves into a messy airing of grievances.
So I can understand, you know, where she was coming from then. I would have made sure she was fine. I would have made sure the child was fine. All that would have been good. What I'm saying is there was no way to keep up with her. You know, when she had the baby, Your Honor, she brought the baby to my mom's house one time. And I told her right then and there, look, Niecy, we can get this straight now.
Courtroom theater peaks as Mr. Childs presents his evidence. He reveals that he and all his known children have polydactyly, a sixth finger. He argues he has strong genes, and this trait is a hereditary hallmark. This is, without a doubt, the most unique and visually dramatic piece of evidence ever presented in this courtroom.
Let me see the evidence, Jerome. Will you describe what this evidence is, sir?
My first evidence is with my children. All my children have 6 fingers, Your Honor. Both of my kids are very tall and look just like me. All my kids look just like me. You know, I'm not saying that doesn't mean she's not my child. It's just that I feel I have strong genes.
The sixth finger evidence gets more complex. Ms. Johnson, Mr. Childs' wife, reveals the trait could be from her side, as her father had it. This slightly weakens the argument's exclusivity. Yet, Ms. Allen remains stubbornly convinced Mr. Childs is the father, her belief baffling in the face of logical and genetic counter-arguments.
Mr. Childs, are there other members of your family with this sixth finger?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Johnson, on your side?
I don't have it, but I found out later on my dad has, but none of us, like my brother or sister, none of us.
So the gene could have come from your side.
It could have. It was just interesting.
Ms. Baylor displays incredible maturity. She states she just wants to close this chapter, expressing no anger because her mother took good care of her. Judge Lake validates her, affirming that it's okay to be hurt and that every girl needs her dad, centering the entire chaotic case on the young woman seeking the truth.
Basically, I'm just hoping that I can just close this chapter that I do have open in my life. You know, if it's not closing, I'm gonna keep trying to close the chapter. There's nothing that I can be mad about because my mom been taking care of me since, you know?
Exactly. And I hope as the adults here in this situation, you all can understand that I think it is so amazing that you can stand in this courtroom today.
The results are in. After 20 years of questions, the court determines Mr. Childs is not the father. Ms. Baylor handles the news with grace, simply saying, "That's okay." Ms. Allen offers a brief apology. While not the closure she may have wanted, this definitive answer finally allows Ms. Baylor to close one door and begin her real search.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Child, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Miss Baylor.
It's okay, Your Honor. You know, at the same time,
it's okay. It's okay.
The gavel cracks, and we are immersed. Judge Lake opens a 35-year-old wound. Ms. Jones-Henry alleges Mr. Jackson is the father of her daughter, Melanie, who is meeting this man for the very first time today. The air is thick with a lifetime of anticipation and pain. You can just feel the weight of this moment hanging over everyone in the room. This isn't just a case. It's a delayed emotional explosion waiting for a spark.
Ms. Jones-Henry, you say that the defendant, Mr. Jackson, swept you off your feet only to dump you after finding out you were pregnant. But you are positive he is the biological father of your daughter, Melanie. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones-Henry, this will be your first time seeing Mr. Jackson since you claim.
The defendant enters, and oh, the tension is just brutal. Melanie, a 35-year-old woman, finally lays eyes on the man she believed was her dad. Her voice cracks as she describes feeling hurt, lost, and unwanted. She shares a gut-punch memory of calling him as a little girl, begging him to visit, a promise he made, and shattered. How could he not want me? She asks, a question that has clearly haunted her entire existence. It's utterly heartbreaking.
Ms. Jones-Henry.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can feel the anger. I can cut the tension with the knife in here right now. And Melanie, how are you feeling right now in this moment, Ms. Jones?
I'm hurt. I feel a little lost, unwanted. This is my first time ever even seeing him. I've never even seen him or told him or anything, and I called him when I was little and asked him.
And he comes out swinging. Mr. Jackson's first words are a firm denial. "I don't believe I'm her father." He claims Ms. Jones-Henry was seeing others and drops a bombshell. He tricked her. He explains that when she announced the pregnancy, he lied, saying, "Go check with that other guy," and he swears she admitted to it. This is his gotcha moment, a story he's clung to for decades to justify his absence and lack of involvement.
I don't believe I'm her father. I never did. I know she's been with other people even while we were together. So,
Excuse me, may I address it? It's not true.
She admitted that she's with someone else. I tricked her into admitting that she was with someone else.
So wait a minute, you saying you tricked her into admitting that?
But hold on, his trick confession totally backfires. Judge Lake turns to the mom, who shuts it down hard. "I've never admitted that," Ms. Jones-Henry states, unwavering. She insists she always believed he was the father and told Melanie so. He fires back, claiming she only pinned it on him because she couldn't find the other guy. It's a classic, painful, he said, she said, with a daughter's heart as the battlefield. The stalemate is absolutely maddening.
Did you admit you were with someone else, Ms. Jones-Henry?
Yes, it is. It's true.
I've never admitted that I was with anybody else. As for me, I've always told her Clarence was her father and felt that Clarence was her father and knew.
That's because I was the only one she could get hold of. The guy that she was supposed to have been with, she couldn't find him. So then she came to me.
Let's rewind to the pregnancy reveal. The mom describes his reaction as absolute ice. No reaction, no joy, none, nothing. Meanwhile, Mr. Jackson confirms his mindset was pure suspicion. "I just figured she was lying." He took her alleged admission, which she denies, as proof she was trying to trap another military man. This narrative of being a targeted service member becomes the bedrock of his defense, a justification for a lifetime of denial and emotional abandonment.
So no reaction?
None.
No joy?
None.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Did he deny it at the time?
He didn't deny, or he just gave no reaction.
Mr. Jackson, what were you thinking when she told you she was pregnant?
That she was lying. I just figured she was lying. I knew she was lying. And then when I said what I said, that you need to talk with the other guy that you were with.
The evidence gets physical with the birth certificate. Judge Lake holds it up, and it's tellingly blank on the father's line. He wasn't there. He found out about this mess when the military started garnishing his wages for child support. He asked his superiors what to do, and their advice was simple. If you're not the dad, don't worry about it. So he didn't, assuming the mysterious other man would be pursued instead. Problem solved, right? Wrong.
Mr. Jackson, did you participate at all with the pregnancy?
No, he never participated. He left.
He left, and you went off to serve?
I was in the Marine Corps. I went off to, my duty station changed. It wasn't that I left. Like I had to leave. That was the end of my time at that.
Exactly, and we thank you for your service.
Get this, the plot twists into a financial scandal. His checks were tiny from garnishment, so a finance clerk gave him a brilliant, terrible idea. Sign up for dependence pay. The catch? He had to sign an affidavit of paternity, so he legally claimed to be the father for a bigger paycheck. Let that sink in. He sold the legal truth for a few extra dollars, creating a devastating illusion of acceptance for the family. It's cynicism at its peak.
She asked, "Why are your checks so small?" So then I said, "Because I'm paying child support." And she's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you sign up for BAQ, which is dependence pay?" I signed up for dependence pay, but the only way I could get that is if I signed saying I am the father of their child, of Melanie.
The mother's fury finally erupts, and it is completely justified. "She's my child," Ms. Jones-Henry shouts, her voice raw. "I was there when she cried, when she wanted you and you didn't want to be with her." And his response? He coldly calls the child support a meal ticket. This single phrase reveals the vast, painful chasm between her emotional reality, a child needing a father, and his cynical worldview of a financial setup. The disconnect is staggering.
I stood with her. I was there when she cried. I was there when she asked for you. I was there when she wanted, and you didn't want to be with her.
And so, Mr. Jackson, you just said something in open court right now. You just said in court, she was your meal ticket. Do you believe that Ms. Jones-Henry was just trying to set you up to be the father because you were this military man?
I believe so, and that was my problem right from the start.
He pulls out his secret weapon, alleged betrayals. Mr. Jackson claims that relatives of hers or friends of ours actually called him to apologize, telling him Melanie wasn't his. Can you imagine? Meanwhile, Melanie, now a mother herself, can't fathom his actions, highlighting the profound empathy gap between them. She knows the love a parent should have, making his distant, hearsay-based suspicions feel even more hollow and cruel from her perspective.
Friends of ours, they called me and apologized.
What did these relatives say?
They said that Melanie was not my child.
I have 2 kids. I couldn't imagine leaving a child. Look at that picture. I look like my kid. And I couldn't imagine leaving my kids abandoned with nothing, with no emotional support or anything else.
The personal betrayal cuts deep. Ms. Jones-Henry reveals she was genuinely, truly in love with this man and dreamed of their future. To hear him reduce it all to a manipulative scheme after 35 years is demeaning. This adds a tragic layer. It's not just a paternity dispute, but the corpse of her one-sided young romance being dragged into the light. Her heartbreak over the lost relationship is as palpable as her anger over the parental absence.
And yet you just, listen, this happened in large part because of you, because of your actions.
Right, all
And
because
can
of me.
I ask,
And now,
we
got a young woman who's experienced 35 years of pain and confusion. And let's be honest.
A specific, fresh heartbreak surfaces. Melanie asks why he ditched her college graduation at the last minute. He admits, "I was coming, but at the last minute I said no, because it wouldn't be right if I didn't know for sure." This pattern of last-minute abandonment is a microcosm of her entire life with him. She concludes that even with doubts, he could have offered her something, a relationship, or help finding her real dad, but he gave nothing.
I did not want to come there
well,
and pretend.
when I asked you, why not be honest? Why not?
Because in all actuality, I was coming. But I at the last minute, I said no.
Always at the last minute.
That's just
Want to
playing.
pop out.
It wouldn't be right if I didn't know for sure.
The moment of truth arrives, and it's a seismic shift. After 35 years, the result? Mr. Jackson is not the father. His immediate reaction is pure vindication and anger, turning to the mother. "You point all that blame on me, and you put your daughter through all that, for nothing." The truth absolves him of biological duty, but the emotional wreckage he helped create through his actions and inaction remains complex and immense.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Really? I didn't have any.
He is not the father.
I did not.
You point all that blame on me, and you put your daughter through all that for nothing.
The case opens with a stunning premise. Mr. Crawford is here to prove he's the father after 35 years of denial. He admits he was a young man who wasn't ready for the responsibility and now lives with regret. His sister is by his side, fully convinced the petitioner, Miss Liggins, is her niece. This is a complete role reversal from the usual paternity court drama, setting up a uniquely emotional and complicated showdown from the very start.
Mr. Crawford, you say as a young man, you were not ready for the responsibility of being a father and denied paternity of Patricia Liggins. After 35 years of living with denial and regret, you are here with your sister.
Ms. Liggins enters, and her disbelief is immediate and profound. She states she's never heard of him in my life, and that not even her auntie confirmed his existence. She grew up believing another man was her father. The revelation has been hurtful and too much, especially after a life in and out of foster homes. Her world has been fundamentally rocked, and the raw confusion on her face tells the entire story before the DNA even appears.
Ms. Liggins, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You have doubt. Mr. Crawford is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Explain.
Well, I would have to say he's not my father because I've never heard of him in my life. It's been 35 years. No one in my family, not even my Auntie Linda, so I'm surprised that she's here saying that he's my father.
She recounts the bizarre moment she found out, a phone call at a family barbecue last year. They said, "Do you want to hear from your dad?" Her reaction was pure shock, as the word dad doesn't even exist to her. She thought it was a joke. His sister got on the phone, promising to make this up to you. But Ms. Liggins's central painful question hangs in the air. Why now? Why not years ago?
And my little sister, they were at I guess some type of barbecue or what have you. And they called me on the phone, and I'm thinking like, this has to be a joke. So my aunt gets on the phone. She's like, do you want to hear from your dad? I'm like, my dad? What dad? Who is that? That name, that type of terminology doesn't even exist to me.
The plot thickens as her aunt, Miss Shaw, drops a bombshell. She claims she did tell China about her father, directly contradicting the petitioner. She then alleges the family told Ms. Liggins her father was dead to stop her from looking. Ms. Liggins fires back. That's a lie. I was told that another man was my father my whole life. The conflicting family testimonies create a web of secrets and lies that is utterly maddening to unravel.
To be fine. I'm 35 now. I've been living my whole life without a father, and I'm okay with that. But for you to come to me now, why now? Why not years ago? Why now? I really don't understand. I'm kind of lost for words.
This sounds absolutely incredible. 35 years, and you get a call out of the blue.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Lake presses Mr. Crawford on the why now question. His story unfolds. It was a brief fling after a 4th of July party, a single sexual encounter. He emphasizes they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. Then, he literally sailed away, going to work on a cruise boat. He admits, when the baby came, her mother said it was his, and he simply said, "No, I think so." His denial was as casual as their relationship.
Why is this taking so long?
Why it took so long? Her mom and I, we wasn't together. We was out celebrating on the 4th of July, and we ended up just being together. One time, after that, I haven't seen her mother anymore until she had a baby came around, and I said, "Who baby is that?" She said, "Yours." I said, "No, I don't think so."
The sister, Miss Crawford, adds a layer of tragic irony. She reveals she knew the mom and even babysat a baby China at 2 or 3 months old, completely unaware the child was allegedly her own brother's. The sheer absurdity of the situation hits her. It's absurd to me too. This highlights how a simple, withheld truth can ripple through an entire family network, causing decades of disconnection and unwitting complicity.
She brought her to the house.
Yes, she did.
But the part that lost me, she never told me that was my brother's baby. As friends, she was calling me, asking me, will I watch her baby for her? And I did, not knowing that her and my brother had any dealings at all. And I'm just as sorry that it's 35 years. It's absurd to me, too.
Ms. Liggins is visibly overwhelmed, stating, "This is every reason why we have to be careful of the choices that we make." The emotional weight of a lifetime of fatherless struggle crashes down on her. She then confronts her aunt about the lie, delivering a powerful, proverbial truth. Close mouth don't get fed. You have to talk about things. Her composure is crumbling under the weight of 35 years of concealed history and misdirection.
I'm just here for answers. I mean, again, I don't have anything against this gentleman here. He seems like a nice guy. I just don't want to get my hopes up. I'm just torn.
I want to ask you, Ms. Shaw, if you knew this, even back then, and you say, I knew this was his child.
Aunt Ms. Shaw provides the most specific and frankly awkward testimony yet. She confirms the intimacy happened in her own house during that July 4th weekend, quipping, "You ain't doing nothing. What the door doing closed?" She then recalls confronting her vomiting, sleepy sister, who confirmed the baby's father was Eddie Crawford. This detailed, cringy account from a first-hand witness is the most compelling evidence yet for Mr. Crawford's claim, making the final result even more shocking.
She asked me if he could spend the night. It was during the July 4th, July weekend.
And you're saying Mr. Crawford and your sister were intimate in your house?
I'm quite sure they was, because the door was closed. You ain't doing nothing. What's the door doing closed?
So, Mr. Crawford, do you remember being intimate with Ms. Liggins' mom?
Ms. Liggins describes the lifelong impact of her father's absence. She created a lion-hearted shell, a bold personality to survive. She had to be her own father, navigating life without guidance, which was heartbreaking. She'd see others with their dads and have to pull myself up by the straps. This confession reveals the profound psychological armor she built, making her resistance to this new, sudden paternal hope completely understandable and deeply sad.
bold personality. I call myself lion-hearted Liggins because I have to put on this shell, like I'm just by myself, strong and determined and being my own father, trying to find my way, making mistakes and not having that man there to tell me like, okay, oh, he isn't good for you, so I'm just trying to figure life out on my own. So it's been very heartbreaking, sometimes I would be so confused. I'll see other people with their dad like.
In a heartbreaking moment, Miss Liggins reveals her deep-seated insecurity. She questions Mr. Crawford's motive, saying, "I don't have any money. I can't offer him anything. So why?" This speaks volumes about her self-worth and the transactional suspicion that a life of instability can breed. She also reveals his daily "good morning" texts irritated her at first, showing how an unwanted parental figure can feel like an intrusion, not a blessing.
I'm like, I don't have any money, so I don't know why he's reaching out to me. Like, why do he want me to be his daughter? Because I don't have anything for him. I can't offer him anything. So why?
That's sad.
This is just all wrong. So we need answers.
Yes, Mr. Crawford.
A year ago, when I first started talking to her, Linda ran into my sister and I. She didn't see me at first. She seen my sister and said, "You have a niece."
The sister makes an emotional plea, acknowledging Ms. Liggins did most of the suffering. She emphasizes this isn't about money, countering the petitioner's fear by saying, "We got some love and all it takes." It's a raw moment where the Crawford family seems to genuinely want to atone, not for a legal obligation, but for a human connection they feel they failed to provide, regardless of what the DNA test ultimately says.
But I also want to say this to China, if you will receive it. I lived in the house with my brother and I didn't know. So my heart goes out to you because you one did most of the suffering with these years. But I also want you to recognize I knew your mom and he's my brother and I didn't know. I want to help her. I hope she is ours, okay? I want her to let her know where she came from. And like she says, she don't know why this is going on because she ain't got no money.
Before the results, Judge Lake asks Ms. Liggins about her hope. She protects her heart, stating she's already accepted her life and built a shell. She braces for disappointment, saying, "I'm just gonna say he's not my dad." His sister encouragingly says, "If he is, we're coming through that shell." The tension is palpable as everyone prepares for a truth that will either shatter a hope or break down a lifelong wall.
Your hopes. Are you hoping today that Mr. Crawford is your biological father?
It would be nice, but I've already created this shell, like, just accept it for what it is. So I don't want to get my hopes high, and if he's not my dad, I have to go back to living how I already was living without a dad. So I'm just gonna say he's not my dad.
The result is a devastating blow. Mr. Crawford is not the father. His reaction is a quiet, defeated, "all right, man." But then, something beautiful happens. Amid the disappointment, there is an immediate and compassionate hug. He offers comfort, saying, "It's all right," to the woman he hoped was his daughter. This moment of grace in the face of a negative result proves the paternal longing he expressed was, in its own way, genuinely heartfelt.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Crawford.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not the father.
Man.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Miss Liggins.
Can I hug you?
I'm hoping everything turned out all right. I'm still calling you.
I'm sure you would.
Okay.
It is what it is.
I would like to say that I truly appreciate.
The case opens with a wild twist. Mr. Miles is here to claim paternity of 37-year-old Christine after initially denying it decades ago. But get this, she is the one who wants to prove he is not her father. Talk about a role reversal. He hasn't seen her in 21 years, and the stage is set for an emotionally charged reunion where the petitioner is fighting against the very result he says he wants. The drama is already palpable.
Mr. Miles, you are in court today to prove to your 37-year-old daughter, Christine, that you are her father.
Yes, ma'am.
You admit you initially denied paternity when she was a baby, but are here to right your wrongs.
Yes, ma'am.
But she now wants to prove you are not her biological father.
Christine enters, and her stance is immediately and fiercely clear. She states, "I do not believe you're my father." She reveals her own mother told her he wasn't, and her central, painful question cuts deep. "You've been absent for 37 years. Wow. Why? Why now?" The raw skepticism in her voice establishes a massive wall of distrust that Mr. Miles will have to spend the entire episode trying to climb.
Thank you for being here today, Ms. Turner.
Thank you.
Ms. Turner, you don't believe Mr. Miles is your biological father?
I do not.
Explain.
I don't believe you're my father. My mom says you are not my father. You've been absent for 37 years. Why? Why now?
Your mom said that I was your father.
Mr. Miles pleads his case, painting a picture of teenage chaos. He was 17, thought he was in love during a 2-month fling, and had no clue she was pregnant. He found out via a court summons. He claims in a mere 15 minutes of a court session, he was named the legal father. He insists he denied it because her mom was not just sleeping with me, she was with other guys. It's a classic, I was a dumb kid defense.
No idea even what I was doing in life. And I'm hanging with my friends, and that's when I met your mom. We got together and we were together like a couple of months. I loved your mom at the time. I really did. But she got mad about something. I don't know. I don't know if it was because of whatever, but we ended up breaking off, and a few months later, I'm in court. I didn't even know she was pregnant.
Judge Lake clarifies the legal nightmare this created. Being named the legal father made him responsible for child support, a financial burden he says he was unaware of at the time. He emphasizes he was never told about the pregnancy, the birth, or anything. He was just a teenager, couch surfing, who suddenly had the full weight of the legal system come down on him for a child he didn't believe was his.
You're 17, you just out there, you're dating a young woman, you love her, you all get together, then you break up. You were never informed. When she found out she was pregnant, she never called you to say, I'm pregnant.
No, Judge, the only time I find out is when I came back. See, I left and I went to Florida, and then I came back, and when I came back, I got summons to go to court.
Christine's childhood testimony is absolutely heartbreaking. She describes a life of struggle, being a really bad student who got in a lot of trouble and spent 4 years in foster care. She reveals she needed lots of therapy to forget all this. This gut-wrenching context makes her anger completely understandable. Her entire life was shaped by this man's absence, and his sudden reappearance is reopening every single one of those old wounds.
What was your childhood like growing up without a father?
It's hard. I was really bad as a student. I got in a lot of trouble. I went to foster care for 4 years. I went through lots of therapy to forget all this, and I'm back today.
But you're strong.
I'm strong.
And you're not alone, because we're here with you.
Thank you.
A major financial bomb drops. Mr. Miles found out about the massive child support debt in 1992 when a tax return was seized for a staggering $28,000 in back pay. He claims he tried to find her, but was hindered by a pre-internet world and moving to Alabama. This detail adds a layer of systemic chaos to the personal drama, showing how bureaucratic processes can deepen a family rift for decades without any real contact.
In 1992, we filed our taxes. Taxes came back, and there's a letter. You owe like $28,000 in back child support. And that just shocked me. Like I said, I just didn't have a clue that was even there.
And you didn't try to find out then?
I did.
What did you do to try to find her, Mr. Miles?
Back then, there was no internet, no cell phones. All you had was people that you knew and telephone lines.
But wait, it gets messier. Christine reveals she did eventually see the child support in the worst way. Her daughter found a stack of checks in their mailbox made out to her mother. Christine was furious, telling her mom, "That should not be going to you," and didn't speak to her for a year. This shows the financial entanglement poisoned her relationship with her own mother, adding another layer of familial betrayal to this already tangled web.
My mom was staying with me, and they had shipped a stack of check into my mailbox. My daughter apparently went to the mail and got the mail and said, "Grandma, your name is on this." My mom opened it, and it was a stack of child support check. And I said, "Where'd you get that from? You never raised any of your children." And I said, "That should not be going to you."
We get the story of their one and only meeting 21 years ago. He visited when she was 16. She spent the night with him and his wife, and he even asked if she wanted to live with them. Then, he dropped her off, and she never sees you again. This specific memory of hope and subsequent abandonment is the core of her trauma. He had his chance to be a dad in her eyes, and he vanished. The excuses fly.
I was never told about them until that very day. Nothing to prepare myself for the how I was going to feel.
I thought we did, hit it off pretty good. And I think I asked her if she wanted to come live with us, if that was something that was going to be possible.
We were willing to take her in as ours.
Absolutely.
Mr. Miles says he couldn't afford another trip and that a paternity test back then cost almost $1,000. His wife adds they had no phone number that worked, but Christine isn't having it. Firing back, "I would have tried harder." This is the fundamental clash. His story of practical obstacles versus her lived experience of pure, painful rejection. The disconnect between their perspectives is just massive.
If it was my daughter, I would have tried.
I couldn't take another trip up there. I couldn't afford it. I had a family and bills and
If
rent
I was paying
and all
child
this.
support and I didn't know for sure, my ass would have gotten in front of a judge.
We tried.
It cost, it was like almost $1,000 to get a paternity test back then.
Mr. Miles's wife delivers the most emotionally intelligent testimony of the day. Having grown up without her biological father, she describes the roller coaster of emotions, the hope, the wonder, and then the anger when you're back alone. She explicitly says she tried to prepare her husband for Christine's anger. This moment of profound empathy from an unexpected source momentarily bridges the gap between the two warring parties. Acknowledging the pain is real.
I had a father, I just didn't know my biological father until I was 18.
Well, I didn't have any of that, so you're lucky.
And I'm not lucky, I understand, and that's why I feel for you. And I understand what she's going through, because there is so much pain. There's hope. Oh, I wonder what he looks like. I just want to be around him. And then when you do, and then you're back alone, then you're mad. It's a roller coaster of emotion.
A stunning piece of evidence emerges. Mr. Miles's mother points out that Christine was named after his mother, asking, why would she name her after his mother? It's a compelling, common-sense question that suggests a past connection, but it's immediately countered by the mother's statement, read aloud, which claims she was with another man at the time of conception and firmly states Richard is not Christine's father. The conflicting narratives are head-spinning.
He said he wanted to play dad.
She wouldn't even talk to him.
Yeah, I wasn't even with her then.
That's what she
He was
said.
never with her.
Yeah.
He is still yet to contact or speak to her mother since that day in court.
Well, Ms. Turner's mother was unable to be here today, but she did send a statement, and it reads as follows. I met Rick at a bar and our relationship was not too serious.
Christine reveals the real reason she shut down contact: sheer terror. She tells Mr. Miles, I don't want to face failure from you again. Judge Lake beautifully articulates that she's scared. After a childhood of foster care and abandonment, the risk of hoping for a father and being let down again was simply too devastating to bear. This isn't just about biology, it's about the profound fear of re-experiencing childhood trauma.
Don't want to face failure from you again.
She's scared, Mr. Miles. And listen, your wife has spoke so eloquently today about this experience, having gone through it herself, and Ms. Turner has a right to be fearful.
She does, absolutely.
With the childhood she has talked about and has testified to her experience, this has not been easy for her.
The truth arrives, and it's a definitive blow. Mr. Miles is not the father. He apologizes, saying, I'm sorry, Christine. Her response is a quiet, resigned, that's fine. He offers to still be there for her and hopes she finds her father, but she shuts it down with devastating finality. I'm not interested in finding my father. After 37 years of chaos, she is done with the search, choosing peace over more potential pain.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Miles, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
We've had a connection ever since the day that I met her mom, because she was born and her mama said I was the father. That's why I went and looked. I'm sorry, Chris.
The case opens with a wild premise. Ms. Montoya and her son, Gregory Sensabaugh, accuse Ms. Brown of lying about her baby's paternity. Ms. Brown admits to the lying right from the jump. The twist? Gregory recently survived a near-death experience, making this DNA truth more critical than ever. We've got admitted lies, a dramatic backstory, and a baby in the middle. This is already messier than a reality TV show plot.
Ms. Montoya, you and your son, Mr. Sensabaugh, claim you've been lied to by the defendant about the paternity of her child on numerous occasions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you say a recent near-death experience makes today's DNA results more important to you than ever.
Yes, Your Honor.
The relationship drama kicks off. Ms. Brown claims Gregory is a mother's boy and that she was dealing with his mother more than him. She says their relationship ended when he stood her up at a leasing office to sign for an apartment. He denies her version of the phone calls. It's a classic he said, she said breakup story, but with the added spice of a meddling mother accusation right from the start.
It ended when we were supposed to, we had a conversation and he had said that he was ready to man up and move in together. So I had found an apartment. I had an apartment that was ready for us to sign the paperwork. He was supposed to show up the day of us seeing the apartment and giving the money and signing the paperwork.
Hold on to your hats because we've entered the timeline phase. Ms. Brown presents a color-coded calendar outlining the exact days she was intimate with Gregory, green, and her ex, blue. This is next-level record-keeping for a paternity case. It's a visual aid for chaos, literally mapping out the overlapping relationships that created this massive paternity mystery. You don't see a piece of evidence like this every day in this courtroom.
I left.
And how soon after you were intimate with Mr. Sensabaugh did you go down to see your ex?
It was soon.
It was soon. All right, so you're admitting to that.
Yes.
Is that evidence you have for me? Jerome, will you pass that?
This is the calendar of the times that you slept with both of them.
Outlined the dates you were intimate with both men on a calendar, okay? In green are the days you were intimate with Mr. Sensabaugh.
Yes, ma'am.
The wait and see strategy is exposed. Ms. Montoya accuses Ms. Brown of waiting until after the baby was born to talk to anyone, so she could see who the baby resembled, so you can put that baby on somebody. Gregory backs this up, claiming she cared about the men's feelings and didn't care about the baby having its real father. This paints a picture of calculation in the midst of a paternity crisis.
You didn't talk to me until after you had your baby. That made me conclude that you didn't want to talk to nobody or say nothing so you could see who the baby resembled, so you can put that baby on somebody.
This is why I didn't want to say anything.
She looks for love in all the wrong places.
At the end of the day, she didn't care about.
You don't even know
She didn't
me.
care about the baby feelings. She cared about the men feelings. Like
Gregory explains that from the start, Ms. Brown was for sure he was the father. He was ready to step up and be the father without a test, even trying to arrange for the baby to be sent to him so he could bond with her. This shows his initial willingness, which makes the subsequent labyrinth of lies he encountered all the more frustrating and emotionally draining for him and his mother.
The father.
She was for sure that I was the father. She was for sure I was the father. And even without a paternity test, I try to get the baby out, to come out there with me. I didn't have no paternity test or nothing. I was just gonna step up and be the father. But I said, can you send her out here? Can my mom come get her? Whatever, whatever you want me to do, however you want to do it. You can bring her out here on the plane, whatever, I get her.
The near-death experience is revealed, and it's brutal. Gregory discloses he was shot 6 times, including in the head, arm, back, and butt. This life-altering violence made him reflect deeply, thinking, what if the baby was mine? It's a moment where facing mortality violently collides with the question of legacy and parenthood, adding a layer of profound gravity to what is already an incredibly tense situation.
So does he have to die for the truth to come out?
What happened?
He's been shot.
And that's the lifestyle that I didn't want to let my daughter leave with.
You was messing with him at the time of his lifestyle.
It don't matter. My kids was nowhere involved, unattended with this man.
Well, Your Honor, I almost lost my life. I got shot 6 times. I got shot in the head.
The timeline of lies is presented, and it's a doozy. Ms. Montoya details how she bought a home DNA test. Ms. Brown agreed, did the swab, but then let it sit for 2 months, repeatedly claiming she had sent it. Ms. Brown admits, I didn't want to know the truth. This confession of deliberate avoidance is a huge red flag and confirms the plaintiff's deepest suspicions about her reluctance.
I created this timeline of lies and I submitted it to the court, if I can show you.
Let's take a look at that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the timeline of lies is week 1. I purchased the DNA test, to which she agreed to take. I honestly believed that she would go forth with doing it and there wouldn't be no problems. But I ended up waiting.
The DNA sample in?
I did, and it said.
The home test plot thickens. The results finally came back with 0 probability of paternity. But then, weeks later, Gregory finds out Ms. Brown allegedly confessed she lied and swabbed one of her other kids instead. She admits she said this, but claims it was out of anger after he was talking to me crazy. This is the ultimate betrayal, deliberately sabotaging a DNA test and taking the deception to a whole new level.
Week 11, the results came in. I got an email in the middle of the night.
And what did the results say?
That there was 0 probability of paternity.
0?
0.
But then what happens on week 14?
Week 14, I get told by my son.
The emotional core of the grandmother's mission is laid bare. She reveals Gregory was shot again after the fake results. Her fear is visceral. This is my son. I can lose him at any given time. She's pursuing this not just for truth, but for legacy, mentioning her 91-year-old grandmother, who also wants to know her great-great-grandchild. This is about a whole family tree being potentially denied a branch.
He got shot again after these results. That's week 14. Maybe by week 19, he was shot again and almost died. So here we are, we have still a child up in the air, and that's what brings us here to paternity court.
Do you hope she's your grandchild?
I don't know, because I don't know if I want to deal with her.
You don't have to deal with me.
A social media scandal erupts. Gregory posted a picture of the baby, claiming her as his own. Ms. Brown called him furious, asking, "Why would you do that?" Her reason? She didn't want to break up her current family with her ex, who also thought he might be the dad. This reveals her primary motivation: maintaining domestic peace by any means necessary, even if it meant continuing the paternity deception publicly.
My son almost died when he was 2 weeks old. So if she wants to consider him a mama's boy, that's fine. With him getting shot, it brings just different emotion to me. And I have a 91-year-old grandmother. This still an able body, and if this is her great-great-grandchild.
The wait and see accusation returns with force. Gregory claims Ms. Brown told both him and her ex there was a possibility to keep them both on the hook, planning to see what the baby looked like to decide who to pin paternity on. This portrays a chillingly strategic approach to motherhood, where a baby's features are used as evidence in a paternity strategy rather than a cause for celebration.
She told me there was a possibility before she had the baby. She told him that it was a possibility after she had the baby. So she waited to see, so she don't have to go through nothing. She waited to see what the baby looked like. So if it just looked like him, I'll be out the picture.
If you really want to know, we had our own discussions and
the results deliver the final truth. Mr. Sensabaugh is not the father. Judge Lake notes Ms. Brown looks relieved and Ms. Montoya looks crushed. Gregory himself says he feels relief to finally have the truth after this exhausting saga. The emotional whiplash in the room is tangible, with the liar feeling freed and the truth seekers feeling the weight of a closed door and a lost possibility.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Sensabaugh, you are not her father. Ms. Brown, you look relieved. Ms. Montoya, you look crushed.
It's not about being crushed. At the end of the day, I really want him to go on with his life, get married, have a baby, and be able to be in that baby's life from birth.
And I wish the best for him and his future.